How's it going? Welcome back to the Atypical Podcast. This is episode 3, and today's guest is...
Jacqueline, Jordan's mum.
Yeah, so I finally got my mum onto it. So, before we get into the swing of things, is there anything you want to talk about? Or talk about yourself first? Want to introduce yourself?
Not particularly.
Well, first off, you're my mum, which I've been saying since episode 1 that I was going to get you on.
Well, it only took 3 episodes, and here I am.
No, that's it. So I thought, first of all, instead of just going straight to a couple of questions, we'll just loosen it up a bit, and I've got a couple of, would you rathers.
Okay.
So you understand the principle of a would you rather?
Think so.
Yeah, right. So we'll go for an easy one. So would you rather have hiccups for the rest of your life or constantly feel like you're going to sneeze?
Constantly feel like I'm going to sneeze.
See, I'd go for that as well because I can't stand hiccups.
Plus, sneezing is more like tickling. Hiccups hurt.
I jerk when I get hiccups, whereas other people just walk around just like...
But if you were constantly going to sneeze, would you not be going...
Yeah. Because obviously you get the sneezes where they sort of get trapped at the back of your throat. Yeah, no, I like that one. Right, then we'll go for a better one then. Right, so obviously this is going to be you thinking about me. So would you rather be on death row for a crime you didn't commit and the most important person in your life is free but they committed the crime? Or would you rather be free but the most important person in your life is on death row for the crime you committed?
Oh, that's tricky, see, because if I were on death row for something you'd done, it'd have to be bad for you to be on death row. So, but then I'd be letting a dangerous person wander free and know what they've done.
True.
Or, I can't remember the second option.
I'm on death row because you committed the crime.
But then I wouldn't let you be punished for something I did because I'd be the dangerous one.
Just meet me in the middle. You could just kill me. Or I could just kill you.
But then I'd end up on death row anyway. Because one of us is dangerous.
True. See, if you were on death row, I'd just commit the crime again, so then I was on death row with you. And then we could get the injection together.
Fair enough.
Oh, the electric chair. It's a very good mother-son bonding experience.
I'll take the injection. You can have the chair. Brilliant. I don't like getting my hair wet.
Brilliant. Thank you for that. No, they shave them a bald spot, or they can shave your hair. Like in Green Mile, they shave like a little patch on top of his head for the sponge. I don't actually think they do the electric chair anymore, I think it's mainly the injection.
I don't know.
Well, it's not even legal in this country.
Well, then I don't have to worry about it, do I?
But did you know it wasn't until the early 19th century that France did its last guillotine public execution type thing?
Yeah, it was a lot more recent than people reckon.
Yeah, I think it's just mad that though. In this time, I'd probably go and watch it. They said they were going to do it at town hall. You'd have to go and watch it.
No, why would you want to watch that?
Well, if it's a criminal and it's a bad criminal, then I would watch it. Don't get me wrong, if it was something like petty thievery or
petty
theft, or if it was a homeless man or something, I'd be I'm not going watching that.
No, but what if you weren't watching it and then, because of modern science and everything nowadays and what they could find out, you then found out that they were innocent? You, in effect, just went and watched someone get murdered.
Well, see, that's the whole controversy with the death penalty, though, isn't it? That if they could execute someone and then a couple of years later, it could turn out they didn't do it.
Yeah, but then does that make the people who ordered the execution murderers?
Oh. Well, see, that's the mad... Well, yeah, because the person who gives the injection is technically a legalised murderer. Their job is to kill people.
Yeah.
And they get paid. That'd be hard on your conscience, that, getting home from work and you're just have a good day at work, love. And just looking at them brilliant. Amazing. How...
You'd have to be imbalanced, wouldn't you?
Yeah, you'd have to go very numb. Right, well, we'll lighten it up. We'll lighten it up with a bit of a better one. Yeah. So, would you rather be a strawberry with human thoughts or a human with strawberry thoughts?
Well, if I were a human with strawberry thoughts, I wouldn't know I were a human, would I? So but then I might get eaten.
Would you just sit in the garden? What do strawberries think about?
Spraying myself with squirty cream.
Yeah, exactly.
Or be a strawberry in someone's bowl, right, and they're getting ready to eat you, and you're just going, no!
Well, see, have you ever seen Sausage Party?
Yeah, I didn't like that film.
Yeah, no, see, but well, ignore the whole weirdness for the last 3/4 of the film. But at the start, you know, when they're all like excited and they want to be picked, yeah, that changed how I went shopping.
So you now do your shopping based on what could be the most excited.
No, yeah, but I did shopping as a job. It was my job to pick them poor. Do you know how many potatoes I've sent to their deaths? Every order would have bananas on them. Even the wonky ones, they weren't spared. The little kitchen ones from Morrison's mum. All that food. All them innocent lives. But then I never heard the jingle in the morning, so they couldn't have been that excited. Right, so now I've loosened you up a bit with them.
I'd be a strawberry.
You can be a strawberry. So, you ended up becoming a mum. Well, not nowadays we'd consider a young age. You'd be considered like a senior mum. But you had me at like 19 and I'm an only child. So, what was that like though? Like, when you found out you were going to be pregnant and that? Because I'm curious as well.
I never found out I was going to be pregnant. I just found out I was pregnant.
Yeah, you know what I mean.
It was scary when I found out.
Because
well, it is. Even if you're not a single parent, it's a big thing. I was only 19. I didn't know what I wanted to do with life. And then, you know, the decision got made for me, but it's not a decision I regret.
You say that, but what do you reckon would have been like if you didn't have me? Say you didn't have kids at all. So you just decided you were going to be single. You know, people just don't want to have kids because they don't want the hassle. They just can't be arsed with it. Would you reckon? Obviously, your life would have probably gone down a slightly different path. But do you reckon it would have had such a U-turn in terms of your life would be completely different or just slightly different?
It'd have been completely different. But if I'm being honest, I can't imagine not being a mum. I can't imagine what life would be like without you in it.
Oh, that's such a nice thought. So do you not reckon you'd be
I've been a mum for longer than I've not been a mum.
That is a good point. I've not been a dad for as long as you was not a mum. Yeah, see? I'm doing the complete opposite. I'm going to wait till I'm 40 before I have a kid. So what would you say the most was the challenging aspects then, for you personally, from raising a son? Because especially the fact that in this day and age, obviously with everyone being connected and you can ring, you've got multiple helplines for like help and stuff like that. I imagine back in the early 2000s, you couldn't just whip out your smartphone and Google help me raise a child type things.
They don't just brought out pay-as-you-go mobiles.
Yeah, see, so would you say you were more based off family support and just sort of what you could see around you? Or was the services you knew about where you could get help for being a single parent? Well, obviously you were a single parent through my whole childhood, but specifically the early days before you got help.
No, there weren't like all these hotlines, and you didn't have like Martin Lewis screaming about things you could claim back then, like working tax credit and child tax credit, as it was called before, universal credit. I didn't know about that. I didn't claim it till you were about 6 months old because I didn't know it was there.
Could you still get did they still do like tokens and like vouchers for like baby milk and stuff like that?
They did when you were very little.
But then
I didn't get them.
Why not?
Because I worked.
Oh, right. Well, that's rubbish though then. So the fact you worked meant you couldn't get any extra help?
Apart from, I got working tax and child tax credit. But other than that, nothing.
No way. So, would you say, obviously there's been quite a few decisions over the years that you've had to make in terms of like our lives and that. But would you say in the terms of when I was a baby, into like toddler age and that, before you met my dad, what would you say was like the hardest decisions you'd have to sort of make in terms of like for both of us? So like things that would come up and you'd have to think, I've not just got to think about myself, I've got to think about Jordan.
The biggest decision, because I used to work away a lot, was that the right thing to be doing at the time, even though it was our only form of income? Apart from working tax and whatnot. The job I was in, I couldn't just walk away from. I had to give a lot of notice in order to leave. So it was making that decision of, was I brave enough to stop all that and get a normal 9-to-5 job? But then the pivotal moment with all that was when I'd been working away and I got a phone call saying that you weren't well. You'd been to the doctors and they were doing all these tests on you because your grandma and granddad helped me out loads. I'll always be grateful for what they did.
Yeah.
You were only about 2. Anyway, I got to come back to take to the doctors and that, and I took you to the doctors, and the doctor said, listen, Miss Bridger, he's not ill, he misses his mum. And that was the point when I decided I wasn't doing the working away thing anymore. I was going to settle in one place, and that was that, because my baby missed me and I missed you. I hated working away.
Oh.
But like I said, at the time, I was 20-year-old. I didn't know what I was doing. And we had bills to pay.
So, well, going back to my other question then about if I wasn't born, would you have continued at your previous career before I was born? Because obviously, like you said, it made you work about and that. You weren't exactly just in Bolton all the time. Do you reckon you would have stuck at that longer to the point of following that job? Yeah, I don't know, to the point you are now, you're still either doing something in that similar sector or you are still moving around, you know? Like when you see them films where you get them business women who literally, they live in hotels because they're literally bouncing from place to place to place. Do you reckon you would have continued that, or do you reckon you would have got to a point, maybe in your early 20s, late 30s, where you'd have gone, as a woman without kids, now this isn't for me anymore, I want a more stable sit-down job? Because did you want kids before I came along?
Without sounding heartless, not when I had you.
No, that's fair
I mean,
enough.
at that time of my life, I would never planned on having kids in my late teens.
Yeah, no, of course, obviously. That's not heartless, man, that's realistic.
You know, you were sort of a late 20s plan that I had, if ever.
Yeah, so do you reckon then you would have settled down somewhere and then planned to sort of go, right, I'm going to have family?
You mean doing it the correct way?
Yeah.
The conventional way?
Yeah.
Yeah, but then I think that's a lot of people's plans. If you're going to have kids,
Yeah.
You aim to do it that way, so you're settled and everything else. But then the way things turned out, I'm glad I did it the way I did it.
Well, that's adorable. I mean, you couldn't have really changed it without, some cynical way, but thank God you didn't. So, from your experiences then, ignore all what we were talking about, where they've got like Martin Lewis, you've got the internet and all that stuff. What advice would you give to mums who have kids in the late teens then? Because you, obviously, I don't imagine it was all, like I said, it wasn't all sail easy breezy and that. It's not like we're picturesque and that, but what advice would you give to other mums who are single mums and having to raise a young child?
Other than don't do it. But it's because of the world we live in now. I wouldn't like to try and raise a child now.
That's very true. Well, one of my friends is having a baby and they've not done a gender reveal yet. So we keep making jokes that they're just modern hit parents and they're waiting until the child's 18 before they have the gender reveal. So then the child can decide what they are. I'm edging my bets at a unicorn.
A unicorn? See, I don't get all that gender reveal thing either. Just wait 9 months and, it's a surprise. Hello! I thought you were a girl till I had
So
you.
I was, 3?
No, I nearly said till you fell out.
See, because that's crazy, because my friend who I said who's got his second kiddie on the way, he's the same age as me, and he would have had his... Admittedly, he's not a single parent. Them two are still co-parenting together. But they had a kid at young age. But I won't lie, he was not boring, but more, he had his head screwed on when he was young, when he had the little one and that. Like, they were already thinking of moving out, getting a mortgage and all that business and that. And, he has a good job and that, and could provide for his family. But then when I look at myself, who's the same age as him, and obviously I have a partner, we live together and that, but we don't have kids. And it's just crazy because he still does stuff that like he did before, but yeah, involves he's a big football fan, and that. And I imagine he doesn't play as much football as he did when he went before he had his kiddie. But he's got his kiddie into football, so he goes to little football games with his kiddie. And, like, has got him into football. I mean, I don't know, his little one might grow up and not want to play football. But, like, in terms of, like, the kiddie club thing for football, could you do that when I was little? Were there social clubs for young mums? Or you see a lot of these mummy classes?
Yeah, you have mother and baby groups and mother and toddler groups. I never did any of them.
Oh my God, why?
Don't like kids.
You said them. Which one's yours? You just got that one.
No, I liked you.
I bloody well also.
Love spending time with you. Just I didn't want to do it in a room full of. Plus, I weren't you sort of typical, you know, like blending vegetables for you to eat and stuff like that. You know, like an earth mother. I was never one of them. You know, you weren't wrapped up in a papoose, strap you on me and walk around everywhere with you. You got put in a pram and I just walked.
I've seen pictures of how you dressed me as a child, and if I can find them, I'm going to put them on the podcast.
That's hilarious.
And then people can make that judgment whether you dressed me well, because I'm sure there's a picture out there of me stood in a washing basket with bin bags on my legs in a cardigan.
You looked cute. What did you want me to dress you in?
Regular clothes, you know, just some pants. You know, in essence, it was clothes on my back. I can't actually complain. At least I was in warm clothes. Right, so we'll move along from the mum thing then, because I'm scared I'm going to get some revelations like you just kept me in a cupboard or something. I wanted to ask you about darts, because I don't like darts, but I know you really like darts. And our family are a big darts family. I'm sort of the only one who doesn't really play it. So why do you play darts?
Because I enjoy it.
So what do you enjoy about darts? Not in a condescending way. Is it so? Do you enjoy just playing the sport? Do you just enjoy winning? I mean, you just think, I'm good at this. I can beat people at this.
No, if I ever start winning, I'll let you know on that front.
Does it relax you? Because I know you watch darts, you play darts, you're in a darts team, or you've got friends who you go and watch play darts and that. I can't do most of them. I can watch darts. Like, if you ever had a big game and that, or you asked me to come and watch you and your team play, I'd come and watch you for support. But I'm not going to be sat there at the sidelines whooping, cheering you on. So what is it that actually makes darts enjoyable for you?
I like the social aspect of it. I probably wouldn't leave the house if I didn't play darts. No, I would. The competitiveness of it. I mean, like I say, I'm no good, but you don't have to be good at something to enjoy it.
No, that's very true. That's very true.
And yeah, it gets me out the house. You meet people. You have a good laugh.
So who's your favourite? Who do you aspire to? Do you aspire to be then, like a certain dancer? Is there actually? Because I honestly, I only know the common names in terms of, you know, the obvious ones like Van Gerwen and that Phil the Power Taylor. I don't even know if he still does darts anymore. But who's like the top tier for you then? Who would you sort of, if someone went, here you go, Jackie, here's a pill to make you like this darts person, who would it be?
Would it change me into a man?
No. I'll let you off for that bit. It wouldn't change me, man. You wouldn't just suddenly go bald.
Grow a beard.
Yeah.
Do you mean who's my favourite darts players?
Yeah.
Oh. Honestly, Michael Smith and Nathan Aspinall are my favourite players. They're the ones I like watching.
Right, I'm going to have to Google them for the podcast so then people know, and I know what they look like.
But yeah, I like watching their games.
So what's your favourite what's your favourite tournament to watch them in then? What's like, for me, I'd say, like, what's the Premier League for darts? What's the one where once a year it's like the World Cup for darts?
The World Championships at Christmas.
Well, you say that's so obvious, but that's not what, like, if I said to
it's
someone...
the only thing I watch on telly.
I know, but if I said to someone who's interested in table tennis, what's the world class of, like, table tennis, then they just go, the World Championship of Tennis at Christmas. I'm still not going to feel like an idiot for not knowing that. So that's the big one then. That's where the top dogs all go.
Yeah. And I like the competitions where you've got like players who you've not necessarily seen before. And it's like they're going onto the big stage, and it's good to watch them, especially when they do well. I like that bit.
Well, I have a theory on darts, and I've mentioned this to you before at some point. But with darts, to me, what if it got to the point, and I don't mean like a robot or something, but you have someone who literally can walk up, 9 data, 9 data, 9 data. Would they not then make the game obsolete?
Possibly, but then you'd get other people trying to achieve that.
But even still, that person enters said World Dart Championship at Christmas. Soon as they're in it, you're like, well, he's obviously going to win.
And they're not going to be around forever. I know that's a bit of a miserable way of looking at it.
But no, see, that's the thing. So, you get these savants who, like, have, like, autism, but they're, like, super good at something, like, have extraordinary talent at something else. You get some 18-year-old walk up, and he just goes, 9 data, 9 data. He's in darts then for the rest of his years. That's his... Whether it's his family and that, just say, look, you're going to make money off this. This is a career for you. Just go up, stand on the stage, do that, cheer, walk off. What age do darts players retire at? Because I don't imagine it's like football and they retire at 30. What would you...
No, I don't know.
It'd be like the Queen mum. By the time this guy has died and other people have a chance, we'd all be dead.
No, because the odds of that happening, well, there are no odds, are there? Because it's just not going to happen. But should it ever, we'll do another podcast about it.
Very good. Well, it's not just darts. I also have this fear. I have this fear about archery and obviously shooting competitively.
Yeah, I'm not really well up on shooting competitively.
Well, do you want a random little fact about archery, like Olympic archery, because it links to darts as well? Because you link it to darts as well. So when when you're throwing your dart, do you hold your breath when you release? Do you breathe out? Do you breathe in? I don't need to be asking you super secret tips to give it away for people, but...
Well, whatever I'm doing is not working, so...
Well, no, you're going to throw a dart.
I don't know, because I just play for the fun of it.
No, I
mean... I don't know whether they have a secret...
No, what do you do? Do you throw your dart on an outward breath? Do you keep your breath held when you throw it? Because obviously you've got to think about steadiness, natural shaking and stuff. So, for example, when you throw a dart, if I was going to throw it on an outward breath, my body's going to sink as I do it. Because obviously you're going... So I would go through it, and as I'm breathing out, I would have a point where as I'm breathing out would be my point to throw the dart. Because I would know the dart's going to land there. Or if you held your breath and you had surgical precision, you could literally just sort of hold it in one spot and then throw. I don't know if people do this, but if you pulled it back and held your breath in, you'd go up. So they go... and then just one vomit off top of the shoulder.
Someone who doesn't know anything about darts, you've certainly looked into the breathing.
No.
See, I don't know. Maybe I should not concentrate on
I'm quite
that,
worried that you don't think about this stuff.
I don't.
Do you not?
No, I'm not going to make a career out of it, am I?
No. I'm going to ask one of the uncles, because obviously they take it a lot more seriously. I'm going to ask them.
That's the younger one. He's all about the breathing and stuff like that.
Yeah. Because I've noticed, Grandad, I'm going to describe it as a cack hand, but when he pulls his hand in, he twists it to the left like he's going to surprise the person on his right that he's going to throw the dart at them. And then as he throws it, he twists and flicks. It's like a Harry Potter move. You must have noticed he does it. Where he pulls it into his chest, so he goes from right hand to left boob, and as he throws it, he flicks it back out the other way. You must know what I'm on about.
I do know what you're on about.
Right, so here comes... Now you're going to have to start looking more about this darts. You can improve your game so much on this. So when archers, you know how they have the little clip to release their arrows when they shoot? Some of them, I don't think it's all of them, but that's on a timer. A timer, like, it goes off when they don't know. Simply for the fact, when you have like something as big as that, a gun or something, as soon as you shoot, you're already expecting the recoil. You stiffen up. You change. You can change where you aim by like a micrometer. And obviously, the further away, that distance will expand. So the point of the random release is so your body just stiffens up, and as it goes off, you're trying not to react till after the arrow's gone. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So we'll get down to uni. We'll get learning aerodynamics, me and you. Snipers, they have to learn the curvature of the earth. Gravity, drop. Just think, we'll turn up to your dart games, glasses on, notepad out, tape measure.
That's where I've been going wrong. I've not taken into account the curvature of the Earth.
But you got to think as well with your flights and your stems and everything. When you're throwing your stems, and I learnt this off a computer game, you obviously want your centre of mass in the middle with your flights at the back to carry your darts. That's why I'm guessing you have like people change the flights, like wider flights, skinnier flights. I'm guessing that wider flights would make it so it gets more lift as it's going, whereas thinner flights would be more you're throwing it type thing. You are getting...
Well, if you look at mine and your dad's darts, he plays with small darts with small flights, and I play with really long ones with big flights.
Yeah, so I imagine my dad's darts, he's putting the power into it, whereas yours are more going...
Mine floats.
Yeah. Gee, maybe I should actually go into darts. I might know a lot... I seem to think I know a lot about the science of darts.
Well, you know a lot more than I were expecting you to.
Well, I was just more interested... I need you to start thinking about these things, Mum. Well, you see them when they're playing on TV.
Well, that'd take all the fun out of it for me, though.
Right, Mum,
That's why I find it fun.
I love you, I really do, and I'm keeping this in the podcast, but you can't just stand up and run off halfway through a podcast.
I had to turn my pad off.
You can't just stand up and run off halfway through a podcast.
I'm doing mum things, I'm cooking.
Oh yeah, we've had to change. I've come down to my mum's house to do this podcast, just for a change of scenery. Right, we'll move along again. We'll move along away from darts now.
Yeah.
Because I think it's really good the fact that I can bring you onto this and I don't have to... Obviously, I'm not going to say the weirdest stuff in the world, but I don't have to be as prudish. It's not like, you're all high and mighty and, you don't F and Jeff and stuff like that. We can have a laugh.
To differ, I've never sworn in my life.
Well, we get along. Well, I've been flicking through Reddit and I got a couple of them, am I an arsehole type things?
Yeah.
Where people give stories. Mm-hmm. So I'm just going to turn my laptop slightly away from you so you can't see everyone else's overall decision. But I've got one. We'll do one or two of them. And we'll get on to see what your opinion is on it. Right, so we've got the Am I the Arseholes out. I was really worried then they weren't going to load at all, because if they didn't, I would have had to spend time searching for new ones, and I really didn't need that. So, we've got the first one. So the title is, Am I an arsehole for telling my wife I'm tired of raising a kid that is not mine? So, bit linked as well, right? So, I, a 31-year-old male, am married to my wife Amber, a 30-year-old female. We have a daughter, Emma. The problem is, my wife's best friend Jennifer has a daughter as well as Harper. Well, Harper's dad is a lazy sack of crap and refuses to do anything with his daughter. He's the type of guy that brags about how he never changed a diaper. Jennifer and Harper are usually at Amber and my house on the weekends because Harper's dad is drinking and watching sports all weekend. On Saturdays, I normally spend all day with my daughter because I don't see her as much as I want to during the week. However, with Harper being there every Saturday, anything I do with Emma, I have to do with Harper. Take Emma to the zoo, it's Emma, Harper and I. Taught them both how to ride bikes, take them both to dance class, take them both to the kids salon and so on. Mother's Day was my last straw. I took them both to dance class Saturday morning. Amber and I also pay for both dance classes because Deadbeat won't. On the way home, Emma asked if we could stop to get something for Mum for Mother's Day. I said sure, but then it ended up I had to buy something for Harper to her mum as well. On the way home, I just kept thinking, why am I buying someone else's wife a Mother's Day gift? That's his job. A few days later, because I did not want to ruin Mother's Day, I told my wife that I'm tired of raising Harper. Her real father needs to step in. I'm tired of it taking any time I get to spend with Emma. She said that Jennifer is her best friend and that we need to be there for Harper. She's now not speaking to me and sleeping in the guest room. Am I the arsehole? So that was pretty long-winded for basically a guy to say that he's sick of raising his wife's friend's kid. But what we reckon? Do you reckon he's an arsehole for confronting his wife and saying, I'm sick of paying for your friend's kid?
No, I don't think he's an arsehole. One, good on him for keeping the bedroom. You never sacrifice your bed in a row, ever. I don't care what anyone says.
I love how that was literally the last little bit of it, and that's the thing you stuck on. Yeah, damn right, you make her sleep in the other guest bedroom.
But no, it's not the arsehole. What's the little girl's mum doing? Because he doesn't mention what she does. He's gone off on one about how bad the dad is. But yeah, he's never mentioned, whether the mum spends time with her through the week, or...
Well, that's it, and he must spend time with this other dad as well, because like I said, he knows the dad boasts about not having to do anything. But then imagine boasting that to the man who is, in essence, raising your daughter with his daughter.
But then also, he's not raising the daughter. He shouldn't be paying for everything like he is.
No, not at all.
But, you know, if they both go to the same dance class, it's not hardship taking 2 instead of 1, is it?
I think it's the Mother's Day thing, though.
Yeah.
That'd take me over the edge. Even if you're ever in a bad mood about it, or I was already in a tough about what we're doing, that would send me over the edge. Why am I paying for someone else's parent?
But then I don't think his wife should have expected him to do that anyway.
No, that is a very good point. So we're going with not an arsehole.
Not an arsehole.
Right. Oh, wait, one. Yes, I thought this one had disappeared, but this was one I was really interested in. So it's titled... it's not as long as well. It's titled, Am I an arsehole for not letting my girlfriend wear a bikini in front of my family? Because obviously I have a girlfriend and we went on holiday and she wore a bikini in front of you lot. So I'm interested in what this person's got to say.
Okay.
Right, so... So me, 26-year-old male, and my girlfriend, 22-year-old female, all similar ages as well, have been dating for around 2 years now. We've had our ups and downs, but overall we have a great relationship, and I definitely see a future together. We really love and respect each other and connect well. But the thing is, we come from different backgrounds. I come from a Muslim background. Right, that's not so similar then, I don't come from a Muslim background. I'm not that religious though, and she is white. However, we have still made it work out, and our similarities are much more than our differences. Now, my girlfriend does like wearing a bit short clothing when out and about, which used to bother me at first and made me uncomfortable, and we did have a few minor fights over it, but eventually I came to terms with it. Seems alright so far, seems alright. However, recently an embarrassing situation happened. There was a pool party at my cousin's house, and my parents were there too. I had recently introduced my girlfriend to my parents as well, so this was a good time for her to meet the family and relatives. I specifically told her to please pack something more on the modest side, as my family would be there, and most women don't usually wear such revealing stuff in our culture. She didn't give much of a response and just nodded. But what did I see in the pool? Her wearing a 2-piece bikini with kind of cheeky bottoms too. I don't know what that means. Even 1 piece would have been more better. But no, she went all in this time. She was probably the only one dressed most immodestly. No one said anything, but afterwards I was so embarrassed. I couldn't show my face to my parents at all. I did talk to her about it and scold her a bit, and she told me she can wear whatever the hell she wants, whenever she wants. I couldn't say anything afterwards. We've been quiet to each other for a while, but slowly making up now. Is that how you're going to end it, fella? Are you just going to end it with just, would we just... Yeah, we're slowly making up now. Am I the arsehole?
Yeah.
Do you reckon he's the arsehole?
For a couple of things, right? Admittedly, he says he's not very religious, but says he's a Muslim. His parents are obviously Muslims.
Yeah.
They were at a pool party.
Mm-hmm.
So what do you do at a pool party? You don't turn up covered from head to foot.
Mm.
And yet she can wear what she wants when she wants. It's cultural. There's cultural differences there. But maybe there could be a bit more give and take. You know, she could be more, are we using the word modest, around his parents. But if I got invited to a pool party, I mean, obviously I wouldn't put a bikini on because the world doesn't deserve to see that. But, no, maybe he should have explained that to her before she went.
See, I to be fair, I think he's a bit of an arsehole for his overreaction. And he's literally, and I don't know what happened afterwards, but he said that no one directs anything, and it's his embarrassment that he's getting upset about. Mm. In fairness to him, if I was told, Jordan, we're going to a pool party, my family are very religious and that, are you okay not to wear like your shortest shorts and your thinnest vest and that? They're very modest family. To me, that's him asking me, and I don't know if it's just me personally, but I would still take that into consideration wherever I was going. If we went to a foreign country, I'm not religious, but if it was if it's culturally acceptable that Alicia, my girlfriend, would maybe have to wear a headscarf, or she couldn't walk around in a two-piece bikini. One, we either then would, if Alicia would really had an issue with it, we just wouldn't go to that country.
Yeah.
And if Alicia was all chilled about it, we'd just do it like that. I wouldn't expect Alicia to go the full, like, shebang, like, right now you're going to dress like this religion while we're here. But I'd expect her to sort of acclimatise to the culture we're in. So I think there's a bit of both. I think the fact he warned her and then she chose to wear the two-piece bikini. Like I said, if she could have compromised worn a one swimsuit. So but then again, maybe his family didn't give a fuck.
They can't have been that religious. She wouldn't have a pool party.
Yeah. If they had that big of an issue, would not one of them have said something, or would he have not said something to him, and he would have gone, oh yeah, well my cousin mentioned to me how inappropriate it was. He said that. He said no one said anything to him, and then he chose to not face his family.
So it's his embarrassment.
Yeah. So technically, yeah, he's the arsehole. It sounds like he could generally just be overreacting to this whole thing. And if he's put in brackets, I'm not that religious. You can't pick and choose then, you know what I'm saying? You can't go to one extreme to the other. I don't know. I think a bit more background about why his missus actually, if he'd have said like his missus was like, you know, tested his culture and stuff like that, you know, tried pushing him away from it, then maybe. But she could be an arsehole and done it completely out of spite.
But we'll never know.
We'll never know. But we're gonna go with the arsehole. Right. So this one I only picked because it's a bit more linked to me, because it says, am I the arsehole? In fact, let me just check how long this one actually is, because we're going strong on numbers. We're we've only gone for a couple of minutes. So this one is, am I the arsehole for telling my friend it's time to grow up? Oh, wait. All right, good. It's the comments. I always get scared when the little sidebar gets smaller, because I think, oh, this is going to be a read and a half. Right. And they always do it in massive, like, bullet paragraphs. Right. My 31-year-old female best friend. Oh, I hate how they've done this one. Right, so, my best friend, Olga, and I met at a cafe this morning. Originally, I wanted to meet at 9 a.m, but she said she'd still be asleep, and we ended up meeting at midday. To be honest, it irked me because she never wants to meet before midday, and not all of us are lucky enough to be able to sleep in whenever we want. For context, she doesn't have nor want kids. She runs a business from home, and she typically works till like 3-4 a.m. and wakes up at 11-12, which is frankly ridiculous. I've kept my mouth shut for years, but today I've had enough. When we met, I told her it's time to grow up and stop acting like a teenager. I said she's in her 30s and is long overdue. She learned how to wake up early. She said, I wake up when my body wants to wake up. This sleeping pattern gives me the most energy because that's what my body likes. I called bullshit and said she had to stop making excuses for her bad habits. She said she'd wake up when she wants to and drop the subject. I didn't, and said that career isn't everything, and once she finds a husband, she might need to change her habits because no man will accept a woman who sleeps until midday. She told me I was a bitch, grabbed her coffee and left me in the cafe alone. I was so embarrassed, I asked my husband to babysit our kids, and now I was stood up. I was furious and made a Facebook post while finishing my coffee, and some people think she was an arsehole, but a few mentioned that I was and shouldn't have said anything. Now I'm not sure anymore. She hasn't messaged me yet with apologies, but if I was an arsehole, I need to know so I can message her first. Am I the arsehole?
God, yeah.
Yeah, that damn right.
Wow. If a mate doesn't want kids and doesn't want to get married and wants to sleep until lunchtime and work through the night, that doesn't make her childish. That makes her living her best life.
Yeah, she's just doing what she wants, just because she's not stuck in the 9 to 5.
Just because she's embarrassed because she had to ask her husbands to babysit... Husbands? Give her more than one now. Her husband to babysit the kids. And then she got stood up.
Yeah, I'm getting big Karen vibes from this, though. The fact she was like, I posted status while still at the coffee shop makes me think, who does that? What 30-year-old woman does that? Oh, you won't grow, will you not? Well, I'm going to post a status for all of our friends to see.
Who arranges to meet the mate in a cafe and then just lectures them on their way of life?
Exactly. It's crazy. So I'm definitely the arsehole. They're definitely the arsehole.
Definitely.
Let Olga do what the hell she wants. And the fact that this is definitely not... I can't... With a name like Olga...
It's broad, isn't it?
It is a broad. It's a very weird name. See, there's loads of comments. See, fortunately, as you can see as well, I get the general outcome of what other people think. So that's what I base them off. But I generally wasn't expecting that to be as, like, just snaky and childish.
I thought, she was saying she was going around, calling people, climbing trees.
Yeah. She was unemployed, living off the back of her parents, that type of, like, you need to grow up.
Yeah. Well done for having a career and not having kids. But I decided to have kids, and when you have a husband, change for him.
Well, that's it. She runs a business from home. That's it. She works till 3 or 4 in the morning and then gets up at 11 till 12. Yeah, she might not. I don't imagine she works from 12 o'clock at midday till 4 o'clock in the morning. But I personally wouldn't want to do that. That's not my cup of tea. That doesn't mean that she's childish. I mean, don't get me wrong. I have a friend who works on a body clock like that. And he doesn't really have... he doesn't have a job. He doesn't have a job. But he's known for literally... he'll be up and about at, like... it's easier to contact him at 4 o'clock in the morning than it is to contact him at 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock in the morning. Because he'll literally get out of bed and starts his day at 3 o'clock in the afternoon.
See, I know people who've had kids who live like that. They stay up till stupid o'clock in the morning and then get up at 11:30, 12 o'clock.
My mate with a kid here, he goes to... because I can't... this is why I can't understand how he has kids and does all this. He goes to bed at like 11:30, 12 o'clock at night, gets up at the same time for me that I get up, sets off to work at the same time, and just goes to work and does a full day at work, and then comes home, looks after Kitty, puts Kitty to bed at like 9 o'clock, jumps on his PlayStation or his Xbox, and plays that till like 11:30 and rinse and repeat. If I don't go to bed before 10 o'clock, I'm dead the next day.
You are so like me with your sleeping habits. I have to have a good 8 hours, or I'm a nightmare.
Well, but Alicia has to have like bloody 11 hours sleep. She goes to sleep at 8 o'clock at night and then wakes up at like 5:30. It's a lot of sleep, that. And then she still complains she's tired.
I get up at 5:30.
Yeah, but then I don't get why. Right. I've clicked on this one. That's not an arsehole, and it sounded a bit interesting, but I'm not gonna lie. It is about 4 pages long.
Oh no.
This is a diary extract, so unfortunately we're not clicking on that one. So we've done all the my assholes, and that was the last one. I only saved 4. I thought I'd do a bit of a split even one for it. And yeah, so have you seen the shizness going down with Philip Schofield?
Well, you can't miss it. It's all over the news.
Exactly. He's having a rough couple of years. And what's mad is it's all like it's all secrets. It's all just secrets and stuff. It's all stuff he's done in the past or he's kept to himself. But it just goes to show as well, it's not just the BBC that hides the shit.
Yeah, but they're having a full investigation now. Didn't they have to go and see some MPs or something? I don't really read it that much.
Yeah, about to say the main things I get shown is how all the other presenters in ITV have just all turned against him. Yeah, it's been a cover up for years that everyone's known.
But yet none of them came forward and said anything before. So they're as bad as he is because they kept quiet about it.
Yeah, exactly. The same thing that happened with Jimmy Savile when loads of people turned around and was like, oh yeah, the BBC have been keeping it secret for years. So have you. Well, what's he called? Is it Johnny Rotten? Jimmy Rotten? Sex Pistols? Something like that? Johnny Rotten. He had a BBC interview where he called out Jimmy Savile and they censored it and he basically got blacklisted from the BBC for years. And then when it all came out, he did another interview and I would have had King Charles like coronation style entrance to that interview. Jimmy, what's he called? Johnny Rotten? It's Johnny. So, yeah, Johnny Rotten. We've got Johnny Rotten on today's guest. I'd have fireworks, confetti cannons, and just a massive sign that just went, "I told you so." Because the BBC, he called Jimmy Savile out on the BBC and they've censored him, blacklisted him. You can now see the interview of it.
Well, I watched a documentary on Jimmy Savile, and it showed this clip of when he did whatever programme he was doing, Jim Will Fix It, And there were all these kids sat to one side, on cushions and things. I mean, like from 6 to about 12-year-old. And do you know who we had on the programme? Gary fucking Glitter.
Oh my God.
And Jimmy Savile actually turned round to Gary Glitter and said, "It's all right, because we'll have them all sent round back for you after the show." Honest to God, when you go, and no one noticed.
There's multiple clips of weird. That's weird, because there's multiple clips. I've seen one where he's on like a QI Mock the Week panel, like commentary TV show type thing, and he says he's there with his cigar and he's like, "Yep, I'm banned from most female little girls' schools in Britain," or something like that. And it's like, no, there is luckily, well, not luckily to be fair, but there are people who in them shows and that have turned around and gone, "You're a weirdo, you," and stuff like that. But in the same sense, how has no one turned around and gone, "This guy is a fucking weirdo"? I don't know. It was one of them. Did the BBC protect him? Because there was a Louis Theroux documentary before it all came to light, when he was still alive. And Louis Theroux went round with him. Jimmy Savile was like, "Yeah, basically living back this caravan. I do this and all that, yeah." Then after Jimmy Savile died and all this shit came out, and Louis Theroux did another documentary to talk to the people behind the scenes. And most of them turned around and went, "Yeah, mate, he was lying to you through the whole of that. He weren't sleeping in that caravan. As soon as you left, he went straight back into his house and got into bed and all this stuff." It's like, it wasn't as eccentric.
I actually had to switch that documentary off that I was watching because I was that disturbed by it. I turned it off.
Well, it's got subject to paedophiles.
Yeah.
But
nice subject, is it?
But the Philip Schofield thing, I know. We're going delving into the paedophilia thing because obviously the lad was apparently 15 and that, but I do not know if this lad. I was not there.
Yeah, they didn't do anything when he was young. Well, that's what he's saying.
Yeah. So we'll put that up to speculation. But there's a Facebook video around that. I'm not massively keen on him, called Jack Jones. He's the type of person who videos himself on his phone going up to random people in public, and just sort of like make weird noises or weird voices and stuff. That kind of content creator.
I do wonder about what you watch.
Well, when he got... No, I don't watch. I don't really like that stuff. But when he got like 1 million followers or something like that, a milestone, he went into a restaurant with party banners and that and balloons and popped them off, and sat in the back is Philip Schofield and that lad.
Oh, I didn't know that.
If I'll find the clip, and not the clip, I'll find the article that it's in and that, and with a picture and that, and I'll put it on screen for them, and I'll show you once we're done here, because it is like quite mad. Because apparently Philip Schofield then told this Jack Jones and was like, "Please don't put it online, but I can't tell you why," and that. But then this Jack Jones guy is a bit of an attention, like, he likes the attention, so you never know that type of stuff. But I just think it's crazy because he's been on TV for like how long?
Decades. I remember watching him on telly when I was a kid.
And then Holly Willoughby's going. Alison Hammond cried on screen.
I think Alison Hammond cries over everything.
What's the guy? How do you pronounce the guy's name? That his last name's Holmes. Eamon Holmes. Completely started slagging him off.
I know, he went hell for leather at him, didn't he?
Yeah.
His wife's been very quiet though, Ruth.
Well, them two have been in that for years as well, though. But then even for that fella, if he's known all this time, why do you not say anything?
Exactly.
Right. Well, can we talk about this weather as well? We'll do this for our last little subject before we go, because I didn't want to make this one as long, because I didn't want to stretch it out, and editing the last episode took me so bloody long. But it did get a good couple of views, so I'm hoping the same for this. But this bloody weather recently, how hot it's been this past week too. Because we went river walking yesterday, didn't we?
Yeah, on a mini adventure.
Yeah.
Race.
Well, me and my mum, we go for walks on Saturdays, and I've been thinking about it, and now my mum suggested it on our walk yesterday. I'm gonna look into getting some better some mics for portability, and me and my mum are gonna start like just recording our walks, or I'm gonna integrate walking into the podcast so I can get people to come on, like when it's nice days, we can go on nature walks and talk. And we can see how long people could go before they collapse with exhaustion from talking and walking. But yeah, so we went for our walk yesterday and we ended up river walking. And I still find it funny how we spent the first half of the walk avoiding this water like it was lava, crossing the water. And then it got to the point where one of our feet fell in, and then I just sort of put both feet in and just went, "Mum, you've got to do it." It said it's so nice. But yeah, and then did you see the rain yesterday?
Yeah, we're outside in it because I went to my friend's house, all the washing were out, and I was the only one with anything on my feet.
So you had to run out and get the
So
washing?
I had to run out and get the washing. I got drenched.
Well, I was on my PlayStation, and I heard it next to me on my window, and literally ran into the front room and was like, Alicia, the times have come. Get all the tin food. The apocalypse is coming. Because I've been laughing about the thunderstorm warning on the Apple app, thinking, it's 100 degrees, mate. There's no thunderstorm coming. And then that hit yesterday for 10 minutes.
Well, it was bright, glorious sunshine. And then little one come running in, and she went, these were exact words, "Oh my God, it's hammering it down." Not a statement you expect from a 9-year-old. And we sort of looked out at window, and then I heard, my washing. And then I come back in, folded a washing. I don't do that at home. Folded a washing.
While P wet through.
Yeah. And then eventually one of them said, "Do you want a towel?" Well, if it saves me dripping all over your floor, yeah. But no, it's nice. I don't like going work in it though.
No, well, I work in a windowless warehouse, so that's not the best.
Oh no, we've got a window. I don't work in a prison. But no, I just sit there and think, yeah, my day's completely wasted by sitting inside. But then it's glorious sunshine outside today, and I'll probably stay in all day because it's too warm outside and it's cooler in here. I'm a woman of a certain age. Heat doesn't agree with me anymore.
Well, on that note, we're going to end it there. So, thank you very much, Mum, for coming on. And I really appreciate it. And it's been nice to get, and I don't mean to say it as like a woman of age like you have, but someone with more life experience.
A maturer person.
A mature person. So yeah, so thank you very much. And God knows who I'm going to get on for my next guest, but you'll find out on the next episode. Hey guys, this is Jordan, just as I'm editing, and I just want to mention a big thank you to all the views I got in the last episode. I never thought I'd ever get anything like that, so I want to thank you guys, and obviously Tristan, who was on the episode with me. But I forgot to mention in the podcast to obviously like and subscribe. You know, interaction's as good as views, and if there's any feedback, honestly, good or bad, just give it to me, you know, anything so I can improve. So this is the proper outro, and like and subscribe.